If you've ever mounted your optic onto your rifle and you went to the range to zero it and somehow the optic was dead on, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Guys, like and comment. The comment section is out of control, very out of control. But you know what? We want to keep it that way. Make YouTube regret their decision to keep me on YouTube. Make sure you keep yourself savage. We appreciate you guys as crazy as you are. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic, the best pump action shotgun in the world. We have the Remington 870 modified by Vancomp. The 870 is a legendary shotgun, has been proven in both war and hunting alike, and has a long service track record. And here's the thing. You might think pump action shotguns are done for, that we are done with the pump action, but you know what? Once again, the pump action shotgun rears its ugly head, whether it be to kill Germans in the trenches of World War I or to shoot drones out of the sky. The pump action shotgun will always be here. But before we get into that, we have to thank the biggest sponsor of the channel, who is Primary Arms. If you're looking to buy optics, if you're looking to buy anything else, they got it. Whether it be theirs, whether it be others, we can't recommend them enough. And it is December, which means Santa Claus is coming to town. Isn't that right, Christian?
Santa Claus is definitely coming.
Okay, yeah, phrasing. So go and email them, say, Grantham said to say that Santa Claus is coming to town. And they're not going to give you anything, but you know what? They'll make them love me a little bit more. So go and check out Primary Arms. They have the most awesome things. Primary Arms, compact optics, we love them. And of course, if you're looking to buy night vision, we have Night Vision Network. The only M word that you can say, whether you want to have night vision, whether you want to buy thermal so that you can see your buddy pee in the middle of the night. We do have the videos of Blue Gene Operator. We're not going to put them up. They're classified. But besides night vision, they have thermals. You can rent, you can buy, you can check to see what's going to work for you. Go and check out Night Vision Network. And of course, if you're looking to get better at shooting, we recommend dry fire. Mantis will turn your weapon into a dry fire machine. Cannot recommend them enough. All of my Mantis products have been stolen by my employees. And finally, all ammunition is provided for by AAC. Let's get into it. Of course, talk is cheap. Actually, it's not cheap. It costs me a lot of time, a lot of effort. Ammunition is provided for by AAC. Let's go to the range with a much younger, much handsomer version of myself, wearing the balaclava. Administrative results walked so that we could run. Let's go check them out. We're out here on the range with the younger, more handsome version of myself from the black screen video. Today we're going to be talking about the Vancomp out here on the ranch. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the recoil. Because one thing I want you to take a look at. So you'll notice on this Vancomp shotgun, we have these ports right here. They're precisely engineered to ensure that the gases escape in such a way to keep the recoil lower. In addition to the forcing cone, this should all produce a noticeably less recoil compared to other shotguns. So right here, we have a Mossberg 590, which is another great combat shotgun. And we're gonna test these both using full power Federal buckshot. So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to test to see how difficult the recoil is. All right, Vancomp shotgun first. Good, I was just kind of letting the gun recoil on my shoulder. Vancomp is very easy to fire, feels pretty good. Let's go ahead and try out the 590. Ready?
Yep.
That's definitely noticeably less recoil, and this is also a longer barrel, but I can definitely tell the difference. This has a tendency to jump a little bit higher up. Let me try to control it a little bit better and see how that feels. Feels pretty good. Try that when I'm controlling the Vancomp pretty hard here. That feels significantly better on the Vancomp, and that does make sense. With the forcing cone, in addition to the ports right there, really helps control the gun. Let's go and run a couple drills. We're gonna do a modified build drill. It's gonna be 3 rounds of buckshot. That's a lot of rounds. On target A zone, we're gonna see what we get at 7 yards right here. Running this gun as quick as we can. You ready, Christian?
Yep.
All right, had one come out into C zone. Otherwise, looked pretty good there. The grouping pattern from the Vancomp plus this really good Federal buckshot just makes for really tight groups. You're not even seeing the pellets really exit out right here. Let's give this another. Let's see if I can get those all in A zone. And that was 118. It's a lot of buckshot in somebody in a little over a second.
Nice, I'll take it. Then we went C on that one. All right, let's give it one more shot. If I can't do it right here, we're terrible. We're not good enough. Except for the trigger freeze right there. 153, 3 rounds, clean. We'll take it, that completely blew him out. Okay, let's try a transition drill, which is going from one target to the next. This is the only transition that we here on Grand Thumb accept. So we're gonna see how quick it is to drive between targets right here. Nice, got 0.90 between the two. A little high in the neck there, we'll take it. Let's go ahead, let's give her another. Nice, clean. Got A-zone, A-zone. That is beautiful. All right, next thing I'm gonna show you is these guns do group really well. Let's show you what that looks like. Next up, we have targets at 25 yards. Due to the technology that's used in the Vane Comp, they claim twice the accuracy compared to a typical cylindrically bored shotgun, such as the 590 that we have right there. So we're gonna see if that's true. We have the Federal, which is a very accurate round, and see if we get a grouping. So first up, you have the Vane Comp on the left side of the target. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. 590. Okay, let's go take a look. We have 8 pellet shot. Taking a look at these two groups look really similar to me. So we're gonna do another test. This one was shooting a little high, so I'm gonna come a little bit lower. Mossberg is shooting a little low. I'm gonna try to get them center, see if we can try that again, because to me, these look about the same. Okay, test number 2 with the Vane Comp. Aiming a little bit lower here. Let's give the old Mossberg a shot. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I think the Mossberg looks tighter right here. And then this one's a little high. Mossberg looks tighter. Yeah, I don't know. At least in the case of the Mossberg that we have, it's apparently very, very accurate. So there you have it. Compared to a cylindrically bored, I don't seem to see the difference. Vane Comp are good people. Let's go ahead and shoot at steel and see how we're doing there with a practical exercise at 100. Okay, so we're gonna use some really cheap ammo. We have Turkish Sterling and terrible ammo. But we'll see if maybe the wad from the Federal didn't play well or something. So here's round 2 with terrible ammo to see if it changes things. It's about the same. Okay, we got the Mossberg. See what we got. Man, the Turkish ammo is bad. Hardly even got on paper, but the Mossberg did pattern it better, it looks like. Well, I guess in this case, the Mossberg is the winner. Who would have thought? All right, we're gonna shoot it at 100 now, see what the practical accuracy is. Shotgun is effective out to 100. Your pattern is starting to spread out past there, slugs, but even then, shotgun's not specifically a precision weapon system. With all that being said, let's get back to the black screen. Let's talk about it.
Now, of course, before we get fully into this review, the thing that we want to do is go ahead and do a full disclosure. So what is my relationship with Remington Arms? What is my relationship with Vane Comp? Nothing. Remington doesn't even know who I am. I think they're fuds. Just kidding, they're cool. And then Vane Comp, I bought this from them. Of course, they knew it was going to me. Possibility of them cherry picking. However, they said they grabbed it right off the rack. That was confirmed by employees. However, take that with a grain of salt. That being said, Vane Comp has been in the game for a very long time, and I've received no special treatment from them, except at the very end here where I did ask to speak to some of their engineers and some of their employees to get a handle to make sure that I had my facts straight, that I could ask them some questions about what I observed at the Vane Comp. So, with all those being said, let's start talking about it like we always are, tip to butt. Talk about what makes this great. So first thing I want to talk about is going to be the accuracy. The Vane Comp, due to its back bore, due to its forcing cone that they are using, which is a proprietary technology, they are claiming to have twice the accuracy as your typical cylindrically bored shotguns. And typically your military shotguns are going to have a cylindrical bore. This is for shooting slugs or any amount of different things. You typically don't want to have a intense choke when it comes to buckshot because you can deform the shot column, deform the balls, and that will cause accuracy issues. In our experience, a lot of accuracy from buckshot does come from the wad. So we use a lot of Federal flight control, which is this stuff right here. It is full powered buck, and it essentially is like a sabot for buckshot. It uses the wadding to keep it together and that little cup and to produce a very tight shot group. So when it comes to Vane Comp versus other shotguns using Federal flight control, we're seeing about the same accuracy. But when you're going to buckshot that's not using that, you're typically seeing whether it be twice the accuracy, twice the tightness of the group to a little bit less than that. So You know, firing against a Mossberg 590, which has great harmonics, it's not too much of a difference, but compared to Benelli's, to Berettas, you're seeing a very tight shot group compared to those particular shotguns, and it does depend on the buckshot itself. So go ahead and test that buckshot out, see what's going to work. Now, we're very lucky that with this particular Vane comp, we've been able to shoot at this point about 3,000 rounds through it. We've frozen it solid, we've dipped it in mud, fired it when it's wet. We've taken about a year to fully evaluate this shotgun, and I'm very happy that we did so because we got a lot of really good data points on it, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. But the first thing that we want to talk about is the 870 itself, which I consider to be perhaps one of the most reliable combat shotguns on the market. So in the 1950s, essentially what you had was a attempt to make a cheaper, more reliable shotgun. Remington at this point had made some very good shotguns that were very reliable. They were hand fitted. They wanted to be able to mass produce these. The 870 was made and it was an immediate success. What makes the 870 so good is it doesn't require a whole lot of parts. In fact, it has less parts compared to the 590 or the Mossberg 500. Now, the Mossberg 500, 590 does have that dual extractor, which is great and makes for a very reliable weapon, but in certain ways, I consider the 870 to be superior. So to start with, the 870 has served in multiple theaters of conflict and war zones, has proven itself very well to be a very reliable combat shotgun. Now, you take all of that and you have to take it with a grain of salt because essentially what happened is around mid-2015 to about 2019, you had Remington was acquired by Freedom Group and you had a drop in the consistency, in the excellent workmanship that went into the 870. Now, the police models were not affected, but the typical civilian models were. This, of course, was bought out by Remington Arms in about the beginning of COVID. And from there, you've seen very reliable, very consistent Remington 870s since. Now, this video is, of course, sponsored by Barbell Apparel. Actually, this is like the only shirt I wear nowadays. I am obsessed with Barbell Apparel. It is great clothing made by great people, but more importantly, made for people who are athletically built. And you should be athletically built because if you're not fit, you are going to die sooner, or maybe if you're really fit, you're just doing crazy things and you might just die sooner. Who knows? You know, life's a mystery. But in any case, Barbell Apparel will make sure that you look handsome, whether dead or alive. So right here, what we have is their classic flannel. It has a great stretch to it, fits athletically, looks great, is super soft. In fact, so soft that when a woman feels it, who you are romantically interested in a beautiful monogamous relationship, she will likely fall in love with you and will likely bear you many sons. The point is, Barbell Apparel probably won't make that happen, but it makes it a lot more probable, probably. And of course, beyond that, it should be noted that Barbell's biggest sale of the year is coming up, or it's about right now. So we do have their Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale that is going on right now. Whether you buy their jeans, chinos, anything, pants, you can get them for just $99. Plus, you have 20% off store-wide. And of course, beyond that, if it's not fitting perfect, they can always exchange that for you. There's a guarantee. They are going to make sure that you are happy. Go and check out Barbell Apparel. We love them. Link is right below. With all that being said, let's get back into shotguns. So this particular one is one of the brand new 870s that was manufactured by Remington Arms, and it has the full upgrade package from Vane Comp, which is what I would definitely recommend. But before we get into that, let's talk about a lot of the proprietary things from Vane Comp that make their shotguns so good. You notice there's a lot going on up here. Let's go ahead and talk about it. First thing I want to talk about is the barrel. We of course do have the shortest barrel length you can go on a shotgun without getting into the NFA territory. First off, screw the NFA, screw the ATF, and we should be able to do whatever we want with barrel lengths, but we are somewhat constrained sometimes. So we have the 18.5 inch barrel, and what makes the Vane Comp so interesting is their use of a very long forcing cone and a backboard technology. So what essentially you have going on is you have a back bore for the forcing cone that has a forcing cone essentially going the entire length of the barrel until we hit about the last 3 inches, which is where we have peak pressure, which is where we have these vents right here. So let's talk about how that works. By having a longer forcing cone that's backbored along the length of the entire barrel, and it's very precisely done, you essentially have a gentler compression and a more reliable and consistent compression of the shot column coming from the shell. Because of this, you have less felt recoil already due to that longer forcing cone. This also helps with accuracy, which is why you typically see much better accuracy from the Vacomp compared to other shotguns out there. Now, when it hits peak pressure, you have these very precisely drilled gas ports right here. These are, of course, vented up and to the side. This allows the gas to work for you, even on a pump action shotgun, to keep the barrel on target. Because of this, the recoil that you feel is a lot less from what you typically feel. We had the much longer 590A1, and even with a longer barrel, the felt recoil is quite a bit more, even on a heavier shotgun. The Vacomp 870, as you can see in the videos right here, was very, very easy to keep on target and had significantly less felt recoil while having the same as or better shot patterns compared to even the 590 Alpha 1. And to be clear, the 590 Alpha 1 is a very tight grouping shotgun due to a lot of the barrel harmonics that it sees. All these things combined together to make for a very gently recoiling 12 gauge shotgun, that's a lot to be said about how easy it is to keep this thing on target. It's been a real pleasure to shoot. Now, moving back from there, we of course have this top rib, which is as it came from the factory, and we have the Vacomp front and rear sights right here. Those are excellent. We do have a sight rail. I do have an aimpoint T2. If possible, I do love a good optic on a shotgun. Right here, we do have an extended magazine tube. We hold either 6 to 7 plus 1 in the chamber, depending on the length of the shells. Now, when it comes to the shells that we were using, any of the good military buckshot, almost every ammo worked great except for the Sterling, that's the Turkish ammo. To be clear, the Sterling will literally choke up any shotgun that we have, whether it be a pump action like the 590, 500, the Benelli M4. It's just the most inconsistent, crappy ammo that we have. So it wasn't really a surprise that that ammo had problems, but everything else, this gun ran like an absolute charm. And even better, this gun, due to the forcing cone and the backboard technology, actually printed really well with birdshot, which is really important for the anti-drone aspect of warfare. So I really enjoyed shooting with this because oftentimes with a cylindrically bored shotgun like you'd have on a combat shotgun, it's like you either get buckshot and slugs or you have to choke it down to use birdshot, and you can't really use one or the other interchangeably. It's not a master of using birdshot. Of course, a longer barrel with a good choke is going to do much better than this, but I like its ability to easily switch between the two roles with, I would say, acceptable accuracy and patterning with birdshot. Now, on this particular shotgun, I did want to have the wood furniture on it because I think it looks great. Obviously, any type of furniture can be put on this, but more importantly, we have to talk about the action. A lot of work was done to the action to ensure that it was smooth, and man, it is smooth. It is incredibly smooth. Like, compared to the Mossberg 500s, it is a much smoother action. 870s are in general, but you kind of add to that the amount of slicking up of the action that they did, the polishing to ensure utmost reliability. You just have a really quick shotgun to cycle. The Mossberg 500, the Mossberg 590, which I'm often going to compare this to, because they are direct competitors to each other, does have a longer kind of pump cycle. So I've always been a big fan of the 870, and this feels absolutely incredible. It is very, very fast to run this guy. We've had zero problems with it. Now, the 870 is one of the first shotguns to use those dual action bars. That makes for a very reliable system and a very reliable design. And you absolutely see that with the Vacomp, so we have no complaints when it comes to that. So right here, we're gonna go up and put up a little bit of some B-roll to talk about some of the things that were specifically done to this particular shotgun and what can be done to a shotgun that you have from Vacomp. So of course you have a polished chamber. This was a problem with some of the Freedom Group shotguns that can of course clean that up. And in addition to that, you have shell latches that are properly staked. Foreign tubes are gauged and timed with the shell latches, which is very important to make sure it doesn't bind up. Bearing surfaces are all polished, extractor is diamond lapped. The ejector rivets are flush, ejector spring is tuned, and a few more finishing touches to ensure this all is working very well. Now, what does that mean to you as a shooter? It means that this thing is going to reliably function every time, regardless of the conditions that you are in. The 870 is fairly legendary among upland hunters, among combat soldiers out there for its ability just to push through all of the elements. With the amount of polishing work that's done right here, you have a very reliable shotgun. Moving back, one thing that we have to talk about is we are using the STAC shell carriers right here, or the VeinComp ones. They also included some with it. I love these because they fit in M4 mag pouches like you saw earlier in the video. So you can easily feed from here into your shotgun. Once you're out, you can peel that off, put a new one on, or whether you want to switch ammunition types, which is one of the best parts about a shotgun. If you want to go for longer range with a rifled slug, whether you want to go less lethal, you can just go ahead and cycle all those rounds out, put on a new shell carrier, and then pop in those less lethals. The shotgun is a very versatile weapon, which is what makes it so good at what it does. And these are simply elastic to hold the shell carriers. I know some people have these different orientations. I prefer just to have these so I can push it down and feed it right in. That's easiest for me. Didn't catch it, my life is over. But that's particularly what I like to do on my shotgun setups. Understand that everybody's gonna be a little bit different. Now, moving down from there, when it comes to loading, I've always been a big fan of the 870 and their loading gates. Very simple to use. Once you have that first round in, you're simply able to feed your rounds in there. No problem whatsoever, whether you're single loading, whether you're doing some type of double load or quad load. If you're an absolute god like Lena Michulik, these will work really well. So we've gone through some of the specific things that were done to the VeinComp. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the functionality here. Let's go ahead and let's go set trigger right there. So VeinComp includes their own safety right here. We have this nice little bulb right here to press out on that. So we are now in fire, which is the way a weapon should be. And of course, we have our unlock right here. So we can make sure that this thing is clear. We don't want to roast around through the studio right here. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go set trigger together. Go ahead and feeling into that. Just a teeny bit of play, about 0.5 millimeter. About a solid 4-pound pull. Checking that reset. Barely any. It's a good shotgun trigger right there. And the hammer is internal. These are great triggers. Moving from there, of course, we have our stock. My stock's a bit different. The length of pull is a little bit short on this guy. I prefer something a little bit longer. That being said, in the winter, this is the correct length of pull. These can easily be swapped out and changed. That's how I have it right now. I've just kind of dealt with it. Always important on the really short length of pull when it comes to these shotguns to make sure that you don't have your thumb wrapped around the back. I always end up hitting myself because of the short length of pull, so I wrap it same side when I'm shooting it. So that brings us to the end. When we talk about the VeinComp, the most important thing to me with the weapon is reliability and consistency in reliability. Now, beyond there, what I really like about it is its ability to hold such tight groupings with your standard ammunition out there. That's something that's really great. For me, for some type of end-of-the-world weapon, I think that the VeinComp 870, or the 870 in general, fills a really important role. In my mind, when it comes to a combat shotgun, I think it's a very close race between the Ithaca 37, the Mossberg 500 series, and of course the 870. With the work that VeinComp does, whether it be to the 870s or any other shotgun, I think you do end up having the best shotguns in the world, whether it be any of those guns that have been worked on by VeinComp. But seeing is believing, but not really. The best way to know if this is for you is to try it out. If you're able to try this out, I cannot recommend it enough. These are absolutely phenomenal when you actually get to shoot them and feel that difference in recoil. We've done our best job to show you. Hopefully you can get out there and try it out. But here's the thing, guys. Get whatever shotgun you have. Make sure that you do have a shotgun. I think we're gonna see a lot more shotgun action in the future. Make sure you get training. I'd be far more scared of a guy with a cheap pump action shotgun if he trains every day versus somebody who has the nicest shotgun in the world, but he hardly trains at all. Training is what matters. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Final thing for you guys is gonna be dad advice. Yes, I am a father of many. I am a wonderful father. And here's the thing, always tell your kids that you're proud of them. You know what, life's short. You never know how long you're gonna be around. Tell them how proud you are of them. There is nothing better for a child to hear. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. See you later.